Right. Uh, good. Well, good afternoon, good morrow, good morning. To the Radio 3 students, and welcome to lesson. This is lesson 20. So, lesson 20 is just a follow up of lesson 19, where we spoke about marketing strategies. And if you look at the theory, if you go look at the slides, you'll see that it's basically just recapping the 10 elements of putting yourself together a marketing strategy and a marketing plan for your radio station. So what I decided to do was just find some really cool sites that would give us some pointers on how to, where to focus our different types of marketing. And this is what I'm going to do within this. It's going to be a very short lesson. Like I said, it's a follow up. And what I'd obviously like to do is once we see each other, and this week coming up, when we see each other once, there's going to be some beginnings of on air. I'd like on air lessons, but I would like us to also have a look at a small marketing strategy of our own for BMH Radio, so that we can just put some things into practice. Okay, so there are for example, like this site, really cool. I enjoyed it. Read through the article. Also made sense this thing. Just make sure that you obviously are reading and sourcing stuff from the internet that makes sense, and also that is factual at the end of the day. Five more marketing tactics that your radio station can provide besides actually being on air itself. The first is a live remote broadcast. Um, that is your outside broadcasts, and the thing is, when we do outside broadcasts, it is normally in association with something that we want to promote or we are promoting on the station itself. It is, like for example, like right now, Jack Rand is doing a number of different things with different high schools, and it's obviously a little bit of a competition where they put up against each other, day to day. And that obviously, well, the thing is about the presence of a radio station, some way that's in your vicinity. Perhaps it's in a shopping center or a casino or at a live event like obviously like a big popular artist that comes and does a show here from overseas or whatever it may be. Even at, for example, like Comic Con, where 947 has an agreement, seen them there for quite a few times, and Comic Con I think has ran like maybe three times live, and they've been there all time. It's the thing about also just us, not really brand association, but the thing is that they are there, and it's a brand presence that makes you think of them more. So YFM did this really well back in the day when they had their little kind of the goldfish studio. It's uh, yeah, fishbowl studio. There we go. Goldfish. Yeah, well, don't mean it could be a goldfish in their goldfish bowl studio, right? So they would have a fishbowl studio, which is something that, I mean, it was in not sure, quite sure of the shopping center's name, but they're in the Rivonia side. So you would be able to see the obviously the jocks like doing their shows, and it was a really great marketing tactic. Actually, I don't even know if they haven't been to that particular center for quite a while, but the thing is that like that is a good marketing tactic to make sure that obviously the product is kind of something that you can really see, smell, even, touch and kind of taste, in a way. So live broadcasts, OB broadcasts are definitely one effective way of doing some out of the box thinking for marketing strategies, right? Zimmer Communications, for example, this is overseas. There are different, like here also locally, we have our own independent communications agencies and companies that would assist 10 to 1 quite a few community stations, and taking this one out of context, so please ignore what I just said about Zimmer Communications or bring them up. But if the station doesn't have exactly the resources, they would have to obviously, let's say, hire an OB truck or whatever it may be, or be able to just hire extra equipment. Or again, once again, if they're not too sure as to how to run an outside broadcast professionally, and it's quite maybe an impactful one. So it's there's going to be quite a couple of thousands of people there, depending on what it is. And it would be wise to actually like partner up and spend a little bit of money to make sure that this actually happens, right? The whole thing also about outside broadcasts is that you do make sure that you do acknowledge and interact with the people that are there as well. So it might seem a little bit corny at times, or it's a bit cheesy, like bringing some people that are crossing by and are either shopping or are busy enjoying the event, whatever it is, and have them on air. Give away some prizes, whatever it may be. Just also like kind of get in touch with the actual experience. Either alternatively, you could be having field reporters that are on, are on the floor, and you could be crossing to them while still having that kind of atmospheric background, which is really nice, and it's really cool. Again, it brings up brand awareness to quite a large scale. Okay, lead generating digital promotions, right? So, what is lead generation? Lead generation is about cultivating a number of people that possibly you could make some money off, whether it be you selling a product, or you are, like I say, like for example, let's say a concert ticket, or you are wanting them as subscribers or whatever it is, and subscribers might then pay a certain fee after a certain month for let's say instant access to VIP experiences that the station might have. Anyway, that we might be able to coerce them into joining a higher rank, than a normal listener. The other thing is that we actually just we want to be able to know that, let's say we're having an activation on air. You want to be able to partner it up definitely as part of your digital strategy with a promotion that is effective, right? That is constructed by now a digital team along with your sales, PR, and marketing team, and is obviously approved by the client. The client obviously has a lot of input so that we can create something great that they are happy with, and so they feel like they spent their money wisely, and the return on investment will be about perhaps maybe only getting people's names and phone numbers and let's say emails or whatever it is, so that that company can follow up, with whatever strategies they might have or promotions in the future. Or we could also use that, with you'll see that. So what I've done is I've pulled up three particular articles that so that you can actually see some obviously relation between, and to know that these are where the main factors of some strategies actually work. So anyway, yeah, we like emailing is still a very strong way of getting in touch with your listener, your customer, or your client, whatever it is. It is very annoying when you constantly receiving emails or instantly unsubscribe based on the frequency of how that mail comes across and how many times you get a mail from this particular brand or whatever it may be. We all have been prey to that as well. And I'm going a little bit more into detail with that just because it ties in really well with the subsequent production, or say outputs of what lead generation through digital promotions actually does. And it's really annoying. Like just the recent one for me was some site that is called Upskill, and it's I love doing just like little small courses here and there just to make sure that I kind of want to have that dedication, just for short as a short time span. And regardless, the point is that once I signed up for this and I was enjoying a little bit of a free course there, like I would get like at least one, maybe two, even maybe like for real, maybe sometimes even three mails from this upskill, business that would come through, it would basically be spam in a way, because once we consider it garbage and it's irritating, it might as well be considered spam. And fall into the category, instantly unsubscribe, and don't want to really have to go back to that site, regardless of whether I did subscribe or can unsubscribe, and I do have the options. Just have have the email strategies also work along with your digital strategies, and depending again on what it is that and what you have to promote, whether it is online, whether it is through the website, or whether it is actual on the actual station, and you want to kind of get them aware. Okay, community involvement opportunities. That this is also always great when you can really like again touch your community, and they can touch you back, and not a gross way. So local radio stations will relate strongly to their local reach. When you are having like cancer-thons, where yeah, you're part of obviously like the hair donations, whatever it is, or there's a lot of things with like the SPCA or whatever it may be, and you bring on your own pets, get some, you come and adopt some new pets or whatever it may be. A nice a nice way to have them have a nice day out as well. But also at the end of the day, just kind of make sure that that they also bring something home from the experience as well, whether it be just a nice experience, or it be an actual product, whatever it may be, or like I say, a little puppy or whatever it may be, right? Okay, social media promotion goes hand in hand with digital. So this lead generation around that we had here with digital promotions is not exempt of us, let's say, releasing campaigns on Google and our search engines. Um, but it does, and it does include obviously our social media, but this social media marketing on its own has its own little, it's like its own little beast. To be able to, let's say you are putting a promotional campaign on Instagram, like it will be tied into Facebook. If you're doing one on LinkedIn, it'll be tied to Twitter. YouTube is, again, like we are forced to watch those 20-second ads, regardless. I think no, I think I know there was options before where you could actually skip them, and now it's just a non it's a non-negotiable thing. You got to actually sit through them, and whether that is effective or not doesn't really matter. Again, it's all about subliminal messaging, which means like, does it get into the back of your head, and are you looking for that actual product? So it's very easy to explain why, let's say, advertising is effective when it is effective. So, for example, when you think of buying a car, like everything around you, everyone who knows that's bought a car will go through this process and be like, oh my god, all I see is cars, and things like become endless. But then I also hear car adverts, and I see car billboards, and I will see secondhand cars, and I will then go and onto like our car selling portals, whatever it is, and it's like these things will pop up to you. So those, it's never a waste of money for a client to be doing these things, because like I think it was, I mean, that was literally the most recent thing that I saw this morning, while I was watching some YouTube videos, and it was something, I don't know, like, I don't know, it was like a Nissan ad or whatever it is. Like it doesn't it like, I'm not looking for a car. There's nothing wrong with my car right now. I'm saying to you, like that's an emergency or whatever it is. I have no need for it. I have no midlife crisis that particularly involves getting a car. So it obviously is just a 20 seconds that I've got to sit through, and then it goes off. But that's, obviously Nissan will benefit and reap rewards from having that stuck onto YouTube videos, and especially ones that are trending. So when I say trending, not in the sense, YouTube videos do not really trend in the way that any other social media platform does. Like, you are sitting with views, and you are sitting with cumulative views that. According to an algorithm, like YouTube will start to spit out certain ads over and above to monetize that particular video, and so on and so forth. Yes, we don't use hashtags in YouTube. Hashtags are used as primarily obviously on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. Not so much. Doesn't really work there. Um, but we work with tags, and the more tags, more hashtags that you do actually use, is better for you at the end of the day. But these also have to be calculated and also predetermined and premeditated, right? Okay, so So another way, obviously, of using the social media, which we've obviously seen, is an influencer. But now we're gonna start. I'm gonna start calling them a brand influencer, which then also is a kind of a brand ambassador. But we obviously have the corporate form versus the, I would say, more the more personal, private. Would differentiate those two terms. But the thing is, we don't necessarily always need an influencer. We're talking about our own on-air talent they're all much better because they are part of the brand, and so having a video from them would make more sense, uh, in whatever kind of way to be able to, again, normally the station nowadays will organize according like a little bit of a talent agency contract, so the companies right now, for example, our Prime Media's, I think Akiso also is on there, where they have their own talent agency, department within the building itself that will deal with, let's say, getting work for the jocks, whatever it may be, that is obviously linked directly with the station, whatever it is, they get paid a lot of money, and they will be required to do certain posts and certain, obviously, orchestrated and constructed posts that have pre-plans from the digital department, etc., like I've said. So it's a bit of a roll-on effect. And then obviously do that, according to a schedule, depending on the high traffic at different times on platforms. Okay. Full service design. So again, that's self-explanatory. Like, we got to understand that when we are doing, let's say, like a website, making sure that we change our logos and whatever we might include within, say, print or digital print, whatever it might be in design. That has to be launched very carefully, like when a station does, because we will predominantly see the change now on social media, in the digital space. You understand? So when you're launching a new, let's say, like a brand identity, and it is an aesthetic field. You understand? Like, there's a lot of impressions that we might preconceive. We will have a perspective on whatever it is, and so like color schemes, design, and stuff like that. And what is that a tagline will make us think about whether we're immediately alienated from the station just by that first impression, or re-impression shots, first re-impression of the station, and so on and so forth, is going to have on us, or whatever it may be. So again, it's a whole thing of being able to understand that the complete package needs to be rolled out very strategically, but that's why you have departments and professionals as well. Okay. Just an extra added bonus was the social influencer marketing. Only really, this is the big thing, a trusted voice in the market, which is very, again, debatable, because what is it that we consider a trusted voice? Well, it's not the followers, and it's not the plays, and it's not whatever, but like whether or not what they have said and done and acted on, whatever it may be, is it has been something that has added some kind of value. It was justified or verified or dependable or whatever it is. Like, it was useful. Like, that is how we would consider anyone that is on social media that does have a voice, whatever it is, to be considered, again, a trusted voice. We're having a conversation just yesterday, and me and my one sister, about this one lady now. It's a young girl, she was a 19 or 20, whatever it is, who scammed. I'm not sure whether it was in South Africa, I think it was in America. And she was on TikTok, and she scammed, like, we're talking like hundreds of thousands of dollars were donated to her, because she said she had pancreatic cancer, which is ridiculous, and said that she needed donations to obviously continue treatment. And she posted, certain pictures and of her, just to keep it going. And people gave her money, a lot of money. But the thing is that medical professionals who also then started to have empathy for this particular girl, right? Started seeing in the way that she was caught out and she went to jail. That's the short story of it. Was that there was a little like a little tube that was not connected properly or inserted properly into the back of her neck. It was obviously like homemade or whatever it may be. And then they called the authorities on her, and she went to, I think it was a 19-year jail sentence, which is, I mean, this is, I mean, this is the world that we live in, you know. And when I say that in terms of, so I use quite an extreme example, and that's really like playing with people's emotions. People really get upset and very cynical about like social media, like the way that you can see how my tone even changes when I speak about influencers continuously, because I just I cannot bear them at all. I think they're a load of crap as it is. But that it's because of this kind of thing, you know. And this is not the first like massive like, oh my word, what is going on here? Like this is like the umpteenth time that we've seen garbage come out, and actually, because we are a very like an instant influential community, global community, what we see is kind of what we take in as the truth as well, which is fine, and I understand that. I mean, I get why all of our behaviors have been modeled and remodeled and structured that way, just because it is that way. But like you, where there is, I mean, where there is the good intention, which social media has so many great avenues of like we have always the people that just have to run it, and so there it is. Okay, let's go to another one. Um, so I just want to, with this one, there's only certain little points that I want to go, because again, they are repetitive, and I just want to show you that again, these are the main important things. So run interactive social media campaigns. So that's really important. I've seen both the importance of both sides. So for example, when you are trying to, so interactive can mean many things, you know. So like what's really irritating, for example, is the way that for if you're trying to go, let's say there's someone that wants to do a giveaway on Instagram, which we have a whole bunch of things, and they ask you to repost this to your story, and then you must tag me, but because of the way that Instagram is structured, that is a big fat mission, which actually puts people off, because like it's not like reposting to Twitter or reposting to Facebook, and you know, or even to LinkedIn, whatever it may be, right? Uh, and the hashtags are very important. Let's not get ahead of myself, whatever it may be, right? But the thing is that the way that Instagram is structured is not structured exactly well enough to suit that type of like reposting, resharing, because we don't really have that resharing thing unless you can do it within a story. Stories are cool. I mean, people do see it, right? It is. I mean, when you do click on someone's profile, they do have a profile, and saying if you click on the image, as you know, it'll take you straight to the story, which I find really actually quite annoying. Because I want to actually look at the profile, and so I've got to remember I've got to actually click on the person's name or the brand name or whatever it is. But that kind of like forceful nature of Instagram, that it's not really yet structured fully to make it fully user friendly. Whereas again, Facebook and Twitter make that really easy to repost, and be able to again use that kind of share and that kind of extra potential reach that we didn't intend to have, or didn't have to pay for, or whatever it is. It can be done by people that are wanting to win stuff. So you would have to then, you know, because that's also now off-putting. Now I must now also go and tag five people at least, which is really annoying. It's like, let's say going to the gym, and they'll say to you, "Oh, we'll give you a month a subscription free, if you refer a friend." And like that is one of the oldest tactics that does not actually work, because unless you have a friend that's literally looking for a new gym, like you are not going to irritate someone's life with someone that's going to like telecall you, and I say telesells you, and really annoy their life. We know how that is like evident so much after pretty much like 4 o'clock every day. You get all the telesales people calling you. Ah, man, we can go on for this on about this forever. I don't want to, but I think you get the idea, right? Okay, search engine optimization, which was mentioned before, but also understand that this is something that you need to get some grasp on how you and the results of, let's say, your own social mediums or whatever it may be, will pop up first, you know, and that's not an easy thing to do. but that's why you get a web developer into. I mean, if you are a station like this, is not going to be like chunk change for you. It's not a lot of money for you to make sure that obviously your site and your profiles are. I think I can just quickly show you here. So just we go to Chris uh, Jordan. Yeah. Okay, so for example, like I set this up myself. I didn't spell it correctly. It's okay. It doesn't make a difference because I've got an okay SEO. That's why I'm saying. I think I've said it before in previous lessons. Like my site actually gets the most traffic out of all my social, or I'd say digital medium parts. So obviously it's going to come up with my site first because I don't. There's not Chris Jordan Media somewhere else that has that name. And so where is Chris Jordan now? There is a cricket player or something or rugby player in the States. There we go. Cricket. Anyway, so that's not me. I haven't quite achieved that yet, though. But anyway, you'll see that my Facebook, then my LinkedIn, my Instagram, my Iono page, and you'll see obviously these are now a Google business that go there. My SoundCloud, my Twitter, it always and that takes the first page up. Now you're going to say to me, "Oh, but you literally pressed like Chris Jordan Media," and that is true because if I just say Chris Jordan, now the cricketer who has been much more famous than I am at any one point and like will come up first, and I but here let's see, I can't even beat the man on Instagram, man, which makes sense, which is cool. I mean, I've got like 350 followers, whatever it is, but boom, what is going on there? Look at you. Da, 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 da. Like, so I'm making it in there, which is great. At the same time, not quite playing the first page fully, but well, there I go, I'm right there. Anyway, so that's pretty cool. And the thing is, again, at the end of the day, I must also also with my own efforts to understand this because, like, I mean, I do have the academic knowledge. I mean, I told you I've said this many times. What I went to go study at varsity computer science, but I do have my sister's web and graphic design company to constantly make sure that that stuff is taken care of. You understand? So when you put in just a little bit of money, it really does pay off. Just referring back to your personal brands, but again, stations, radio stations, this stuff has been covered, right? Uh, again, we've covered leads and stuff, but again, I just wanted to show you that kind of like repetition here. So again, text messages and email marketing. Text messages, people don't really read as much. We actually start more so blocking actual SMSs because a lot of it is only promotional stuff, which gets really annoying. As like let's say it's to me, but I'm definitely not a representation of everybody in this particular sense. So some people do like let's say that it's been completely compartmentalized to text messages and SMSs, whereas people that try that on let's say WhatsApp is very like that's like a no-go space. So you'll see that some business accounts just randomly get your number and just include you on some kind of group and like your immediate thing is like block forever, and it really actually frustrates you because WhatsApp is a much more private space where SMSing is now kind of that like well we don't really think about that much and whatever it may be. Okay, so there was the repetition there. Pat myself on the back, that's great. And then I'm also going to just have a look at where we get some repetition. Yeah, so online advertising, as we said there, making sure that, and I just want to say that again, something I mentioned before, but please, when you do want to advertise on, again, in the social mediums, like it's a very daunting process, and there's a lot of things that you got to go and fill out and when you're doing your target market like and then kind of like when it is that you want the advert to rotate, whatever it may be, like, but it is well worth actually going through the process because the thing is like you cannot avoid it regardless whether you are going to belong to a certain company or brand or whatever it is, or you're going to have to do it yourself at some point when you are selling your services and so on and so forth, right? And then you can constantly readjust those figures, those variables, right, within obviously setting up that particular ad, right? But again, interactivity, don't complicate it when you are doing it on social media. So, for example, like sometimes it should be something like a top something songs of, let's say, whatever, a throwback to, or like you could then there another week on another Thursday be like, okay, great. So give us your throwback Thursday song for your first love or whatever it is, or or your first breakup, or whatever it may be. Like make sure that you are balancing that kind of interactivity and so on and so forth. Okay. App development, sure, is only necessary genuinely when it's necessary because it costs a lot of money, and it is. Look, it's nice to have a little app, but the app really has to work. It can't be faulty. People immediately delete and do not download it further again. So you want to make sure that if you are going to do an app for your station, like you wanna really have that thing tested through and through. And obviously, it can't really remain the same. I'm not saying it should grow into some kind of like beast, but it has to. You've got to structure it in such a way that the exoskeleton once again it has enough space for dynamic content to constantly change and refresh and whatever it is. I want to listen to podcasts here. I want to go and let's say see little. I want to link directly to people's social media accounts, whatever it may be, and I want to also be able to enter competitions or whatever, and listen to Spotify charts and whatever, So again, search engine optimization, and again, email marketing is very effective, but do not overstep your boundary. It's going to get really old really soon. Okay, that's the end of that. And uh, I'm going to say